There was a story in the Pravda newspaper quoting Craig Fleener from Alaska, one of the advisors on Arctic policy, as saying that Alaska would have been better developed if it had been under Russian rule. Now, I'm not really sure that's the case. I mean, if you look at how developed Siberia is, it's not as developed as it could be in terms of the amount of resources that are there, the amount of woodland that had never got, well, developed. And of course, the mineral and other kinds of things that might be their mines, oil, gas. We don't know for sure. We know this stuff is here in Alaska, and I think part of the issue is that because Alaska has been kept a wilderness area for so long intentionally by the United States. I mean, we've got the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, right? We've got ANWR. We know there's a whole bunch of oil to be developed up there, but we can't because it's a protected area for wildlife. We've also got an area that Congress set aside over 100 years ago out of Russia specifically for development in the future. But it was set aside, and every single year they've decided, no, we're not going to develop it yet. And it's interesting to me to look at the speculation now, especially with people looking at Russia and saying, oh, maybe they're going to try to take back Alaska. Look, here in Alaska, I can tell you this. We're being ruled by people 3,000 miles away from us who don't know a thing about living in Alaska. They don't know what it's like to have giant mosquitoes come in and try to take away your children in the middle. Okay, they don't actually, not that big, but they don't know what it's like camping here and having to defend yourself against bears when you're just going out to try to fish. They don't know what it's like at 40 below when you're just trying to get to work and your car breaks down and you're like, oh, boy, I hope I can make it to the nearest gas station to stay warm and not die. People don't know what it's like here, and yet they tell us that we cannot develop this land because it belongs to the country. It belongs to posterity. Look, 9/10 of the law is possession, right? People who have been out homesteading have been kicked off the land by the National Park Service. People who have had cabins in their family for over 100 years have had those cabins burned down by government officials accusing them of trespassing. Well, these people went out there and made a claim on the land. They actually put work into it. They actually did something of value. To have somebody else come in and burn down what they built and say, no, you can't have that out here in the wilderness because this wilderness needs to be preserved as wilderness. To me, that's a bit of a stretch. Ownership is a very important issue that most people don't seem to get because your government does not believe that you have the right to private property. If they did, they wouldn't tax you on it. Your government, the people that are in it, I should say, because government doesn't really exist, it's just a construct. It's people who believe in government that give power to other people to go and exploit, to steal, to kill, to maim, to do all of these destructive things. That's what government does. Government doesn't create wealth. Government doesn't create jobs. All it does is take. And when you look and say, well, Alaska would have been better developed under Russia, well, that's a speculation. It's possible it could have been. It's also possible that it still would be now. I personally, I can speak Russian, and I wouldn't mind if I had a master 3,000 miles away on that side of the globe as opposed to 3,000 miles away on that side. What I would really like is to have people leave me alone and let me do my life as I feel is right. That's my 2 cents. Send me an email if you want to engage on this topic or anything else. Steve@radiofreespeech.com. Thanks.